This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Planning and Zoning meeting of July 1, 2024. My name is Vern Carlson, and I'm the chairman of the commission. We have a light agenda tonight. We have one public hearing, and 2 site plans, and a couple of little other small business. Let me just introduce our staff to you. Andy Bevilacqua is our town engineer. Next to him is Alan Frederickson, our land use administrator. To my extreme left is Campagna, our clerk reporter. Next to her is Christine Hilton, and that is our staff secretary. And this we will start with.
I'm Carrie Matty.
Carrie Matty should be sitting in for Rod Williams, who is not here this evening. She's an alternate.
I'm Ken Quick, a regular member.
Paul Wyman, Vice Chair. Mark Parisi, alternate.
He'll be sitting in for Brian Cummings this evening. Also, you'd be interested in acting as secretary tonight or not?
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. You want to read it in?
Sure.
Okay, stand by. I'll let you know. Okay. So Ken, he'll be acting as secretary. Okay, with that, first off, Alan, is there any changes to the agenda?
Well, there are. Item number 2, special permit application of Quinnipiac University relative to 5100, 5110 Ridge Road. And also item number 5, the site plan application that goes with that are postponed until next month anyway, because they've got to get through with the Inland Wetlands Commission first.
Okay.
So
Very good.
those 2 items are off.
Very good. Well, as I said, we have 1 public hearing and 2 site plans. So the public hearing we're going to take first, and Ken is going to act as secretary tonight. Ken, would you read that to call of 24-12?
So for public hearing P24-12, zone change application of Universal Construction applicant and owner relative to 61 Quinnipiac Avenue, map 6, lot 21, plan entitled 61 Quinnipiac Avenue, June of 2006/21, North Haven, Connecticut. Zone change application prepared by Navis and Young Engineers Incorporated, dated May 2024, scale 1 inch equals 30 feet, R40, CB-20, and R20 zoning districts.
Okay, that being said, Bernie, are you for the applicant?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Bernard Pellegrino. I'm an attorney with the Pellegrino Law Firm located at 475 Whitney Avenue. I represent the applicant, Universal Construction LLC. In regard to this application, Mr. Pesapane, who's the principal of Universal, is joining me. Also with me this evening is Jim Galligan of Navis and Young, and you'll hear from him in a moment about our plan if this zone change application is granted. The property, as previously mentioned, is 61 Quinnipiac Avenue, and that parcel is about 11.5 acres in size. It's vacant land, and it's currently split zoned, and you'll see that in a minute when Jim goes through the zoning map amendment map. CB40, R20, and R40. And our request this evening is that you rezone the property as EH, or Elderly Housing District, for the development of an elderly housing project on the property. Some of you may recall that we were here on January 8th of this year with an application. So you may be familiar with some of the background here, and the project has changed, and so we've refiled the application for your consideration. For those of you who were here last time, some of this may be a bit repetitive, but it's a new public hearing and a new record. So I've got to put all of this back on the record, so just bear with me. I think having some familiarity will probably make it go a little quicker for all of us. So, as I mentioned, we're seeking to rezone the property EH, or elderly housing, and that EH zone is permitted under section 2.4.1. As the staff report indicates, this parcel meets all of the eligibility requirements under the regulations for your consideration and approval if you find that it's appropriate. We meet all of the standards, so the property qualifies within your regulation. And Mr. Galligan will go over all of that with you in a moment. The overriding, I think, message that we want to bring forward is that the project is in accordance with your plan of conservation and development, number one. And there's an incredible need for age-restricted housing in our town. The demographics in North Haven, and I've lived here most of my life, raised my family here, was born here, has changed considerably over the last 15 or 20 years. And our generation, and I'm in that generation myself as a 61-year-old, is growing in North Haven, and as such, there's an increased demand and need for affordable housing. We want to stay in, for age-restricted housing. We want to stay in town if we can after we sell our house and our kids go away. And there is just not enough age-restricted housing in our town, and so we think it's a need that this project would fill. We're looking to develop 60 units of age-restricted housing on this property. There's a waiting list for senior housing at the town's senior housing waiting list. So there is the need. We think we could fill it, and we think that that goes a long way in accordance with our plan of development for meeting the needs for housing the demographic, the growing demographic in town that would like to remain in town and would prefer a project that is built to meet that demand, including some of the limitations and requirements that that demographic is looking for in housing. So that's kind of the background from a conservation and development plan of conservation and demand or need standpoint. And I'll turn it over to Jim to go over some of the eligibility requirements and show you the plan that we'd like to.
Well, as you know, Bernie, this is for a zone change, and this is not required. But it's good to bring it in since there's so much interest in this.
Correct. We would still have to come back.
Yes.
If we're fortunate enough to have you rezone the property to EH with another full-blown public hearing with more details. But, you know, typically when we do these projects, the commission's looking for an idea of what could be developed on the site. We showed you one last time. There were some issues that were raised, not only by you all, but by members of the public who live in the area, and we've tried to address those. And Jim will show you how we, I think, have done that.
Okay, Jim?
Can I leave this here, or do you want him to hold it? There you go, Paul.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Jim Galligan. I'm a professional engineer registered in the state of Connecticut, and we're located at 1355 Middletown Avenue in Northford. I'm representing Universal today. The subject parcel, as Bernie said, the subject parcel, as Bernie said, is located.
Jim, could you pick it up a little bit louder?
You want me to be
Just-
louder?
Just be a little louder, not too long, but a little louder.
That's new for me. All right, so the subject parcel is 11.5 acres. As Bernie has mentioned, it's, the entrance to this parcel is off of Quinnipiac Avenue. Right down here is Middletown Avenue. It's barely zoned in 3 separate zones, and we're asking to have the 3 separate zones all combined into the E8 zone. There's a 30-foot driveway coming into the building. Previously, we had the building more centrally located up the page, for lack of a better term. We've shifted this building much farther away, much farther to the east. And so right now, the building is around almost 300 feet away from the closest home on, I have to look over here now.
Cindy Lane.
Thanks for the crowd.
Cindy Lane, that was your.
There you go. About 300 feet from the closest home on Cindy Lane. The building is now going to be a 3-story building instead of a 4-story building. A couple of things that we did to make sure, we took the template for the largest fire vehicle that was provided to us from the fire department, and we're showing how that fire vehicle can make it all the way around the building and back out without any special turns or any special requirements. The site is served by public water and public sewer. We have 2 hydrants located on the front of in front of the building to make sure that there's sufficient access to the building for fire department. We have a sidewalk that runs all the way from the building, all the way down along the sidewalk, and down right now, all the way down to Quinnipiac Avenue. We'll have a complete drainage system there that we'll be submitting to the town engineer, should it be approved. Let's see. At one point in time, we looked at this site and tried to lower it. Originally, we had this set at elevation 80. We tried to lower this building down to elevation 70 because some of the residents were concerned about the size and height of the building. One of the things that we found when we lowered that elevation is that it turned into a huge mining operation. It was months of earth removal required at that lower elevation. So we have put it back at the elevation 80, but we've reduced the number of stories from 4 to 3, and with the attempt in trying to make the site be more closely balanced. The applicant is his goal is to build the building and build the road and get the project done. He does not want to make a mining operation out of this. So I went to him and explained to him what his options were, and he said, look, I don't want to be making this a mining operation. I want to build a building. We have to hold it at elevation 80. And that's an approximate elevation. When we do the final design, if the building could be raised a foot or lowered a foot, depending on what the final quantities are.
Still balanced, okay.
Yes, the final plan will be, the intent of the final plan will be so that the site is as closely balanced as possible in order to make it so that it's not a mining and earth excavation project. That's not the goal of the project. The building is still, the footprint of the building is still 80 by 290, and as I mentioned, the closest building over on Cindy Lane is about 300 feet now, which is, as we all know, the size of a football field, away from the building. And I think that covers the building part of it. Again, we're looking to try and hear and react to the comments that were brought to us before by yourselves and by the people of the public. That's why we reduced the number of stories from 4 to 3. We also have gone with a flat roof instead of a pitched roof, so that and it will have just a simple parapet wall around it. That takes another 10 feet off the top of the building.
Can you just run through
Okay.
this on map form? Just show them that.
Would you slide it over
that-
a little bit too, like that way?
Does
Yeah,
that-
that's better, thank you.
Does that take care of your presentation, Bernie?
I just want him to just walk through that zone change map for the record. Thank you.
So this is Quinnipiac and Avenue again. This front section of the parcel is CB 20. That's where the existing businesses are located along Quinnipiac Avenue. Then there's a small section in here that is R20, and then this larger section back in here is R40. And as you know, this is the Peters Rock section, open space here in the back. So we would be looking to have all three of these zones within the project limits changed to the EH zone.
And on that map, just generally show them where the development area would be.
And the development area is down here. We made an asserted effort to try and get the building
Yep.
as far away from the Cindy Lane properties as possible. As you can see, we're right over here against the commercial area here.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
that's your presentation? Okay, very good.
Yep, thank you.
Before we go any further, let me just say that some of these comments that you made about moving the building down, moving it over, and changing the roof style on it, Paul and I met with the owner some time ago and went over and we tried to negotiate many of these things on this plan. But before we get into the full commission here, Ken has some things he'd like to share with you guys, and with you, Bernie.
Sure.
And give his thoughts to you.
I think, as we had our last meeting, besides the building change being lowered, I don't see why we would make the zoning change compared to, last time we denied the application. It seems pretty much the same thing. A few things, seems like the elderly housing, as that could be this use case, is not really in accordance with our conservation and development plan, meaning, we're looking for elderly housing to be closer to town. Some of the fire chief's kind of requests and concerns about the load of additional services needed here, that was concerning as well. Those are some of the big things I was personally thinking of compared to last time. Any other details that you guys are looking to share today? Or-
Well, I think one thing I would point out as to a location for age-restricted housing, there are not a lot of sites available to develop age-restricted housing. This location is on the bus line, so it will, the project will be serviced by the bus line into the downtown area, and quite frankly, all the way up Washington Avenue. So there is bus access from the site to downtown. It's very proximate, I think, to what I call the Monowee Center in that location. So, so I think it would service and be proximate to the center of the Monowee section of our town, which I think would be a benefit to that area to have some age-restricted housing available to residents who've grown up in that area. We have little kind of neighborhoods and subsections of the town. So I would respectfully disagree that this project fits within the framework of our plan of conservation and development. I know the fire chief, well, the one substantive comment we have addressed, we can show that vehicle, the largest vehicle, will be able to access this site, and we did go through some changes to get there.
Right?
His other comments, you probably noticed they're the same on every application, right? That's a constant comment that he's carrying through, saying, you know, his department needs more services, needs more personnel, and I can appreciate that comment. But I don't think that that comment is specific to this project. I think, as you notice, that comment is pretty much the same with every application that comes forward. And I can appreciate his thinking on that, as I'm sure you all do. But I don't think this project is generating that comment. I think it's just a general concern that the fire marshal has, fire department, fire chief
So,
has.
one thing, just thinking, you know, what's the driver towards elderly housing versus residential? Something like, you know, in town, we have like the Piermont Hill type of development, which is, you know, kind of small townhouses, something like that could fit in this space, but also blend into the neighborhood a little bit better than a larger 3-story building.
The thinking here is that this model is more like your Tuscan Village, which is up on 22. And that model provides the housing at a more affordable level than some of your standalone unit, age-restricted, or even some of the cluster units like you see at Stonehill or some of the others that cost more to build and cost more to rent or purchase. So that's number one. Number two, similar or kind of dovetailing with what Jim was speaking of, those projects usually are spread out more because you need more space to develop those units. And on a site like this where there's some concerns over earthwork, and as Jim mentioned, you know, trying to create flat areas to build for this site and for this project, that would make that situation harder
It's
or
definitely
exacerbate.
difficult. It's
Yeah.
a difficult site. I think all of us agree, right?
So we stuck with the Tuscan Village model because it would allow us to generate enough units and be able to offer those at more affordable prices than developing in some of the other different types of models.
And this is just a rental, right? These aren't for
It's a rental.
sale.
It's a rental,
It's a
yes.
rental.
Tuscan is, I think, also a rental.
You mentioned the bus service. Do you know about how far the bus stop is from the site?
Up the bottom.
I think it's right there, I
I
don't
believe
know.
it's right at the entrance here.
Yes, it is.
I just, well, I gotta- just to follow up on what Bernie was saying, one of the other reasons why we picked this, this model was to minimize the construction on the whole site. I mean, you know, there's going to be a lot of undisturbed natural land left behind, almost the old style cluster subdivision thought, you know, where you leave a lot of the land undisturbed and be able to concentrate the construction in one area, leaving the rest of it undisturbed. If we went with the more townhouse type option, we would end up using the whole site.
Yeah, if that was possible, right? The site's not, it's not conducive to the, you know, the way the hill and things like that. That's unfortunately for you, that's the challenge, you know, part of the biggest challenge for it.
And we would, I think we discussed last time, it was raised, consider, you know, putting a conservation easement in the back, which would tie into the Peters Rock property
Yeah.
to ensure that that area of the property is not developed down in the future. So that provides additional, I think, buffer and protection for that ridge area.
Those are all the questions I have at the moment.
You got enough, Paul?
Yep.
That's satisfied. Okay, I want Ken to get out first what we're talking about here. Paul, you wanna?
Sure. The total height before, with the last site plan you brought before us, but how much lower is it? Is this site plan?
That was 4 stories, which is
Yeah,
about 40
in
feet.
feet,
That
okay.
was about 40 feet of building, plus about almost another 8 feet of roof. So this is almost 18 feet lower than the
Okay.
original building.
Because that was one of the concerns, looking out
Sure.
people at Cindy Lane, looking out the
Yeah.
back window and seeing that. Now, how about the distance? You said 300 feet. What was it, 100 feet before?
Yes, it was, previously the building was all the way over here, so it was almost 100 feet there. And we're also proposing to put a large, I'm gonna call it a vegetative berm in this area here, just to revegetate and try and, screen the end of the building.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, with moving it over there, you're not going to have, there was a concern about the blasting, so, before, so you're not going to have to do as much mining as you call it.
Well, that's right, yeah.
So-
As I said, the goal here is to try and minimize the amount of earthwork. If there is blasting, it's all going to be done in accordance with the fire marshal's requirements and the state requirements. But the real goal here is to try and minimize the earthwork and certainly minimize any earthwork as far as off-site is concerned.
Okay.
Now, you also, just let me add to that, you also took not only the story off, you took the gable roof off as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
You took the gable off and
Yeah, now that's what I said, the story was about 10 feet, and then the pitch
then you
roof
had
was
about-
another 8 feet, so it's gonna be, the top of the building will be about 18 feet lower than the building was on the previous application.
thanks. Mark? You good? Okay. Sure?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yep.
No question? Can you-
No, I'm good.
You got enough?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to go over with you, what we did talk about, Jim. I talked about, Paul and I talked with Bob over this about, about the blasting, of course, and about putting fencing on top of the building. Talked about that, Bob. In case you're gonna put any
The parapet.
mechanicals up on there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to block that, any air conditioners or whatever you might have there.
It'll all be shielded with the parapet.
To try to reduce that, yeah, surely. And, yeah, we took off one floor, and you moved it over to the northeast there considerably. And, we talked, well, we don't have to talk about, we'll talk about this on the site plan, there's much more to go on there. We'll talk about it. This is, mind you folks here, I'm gonna open up to the public very soon, and this is for a zone change, not for the site plan. So, is there anything else from the commission?
Not for myself, no.
Staff? Okay. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this application? Come ahead, no, come ahead, sir.
I have two
Go
questions.
ahead.
Gotta read that.
Yeah,
She needs it.
yes.
She needs it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she needs it. She just needs to get the information. That's
My
all.
name's Tony Volo, having a property across the street from that driveway.
Yes.
I'd like to know how many units are planned for this development? And what do you people call affordable housing?
Okay. You'll take any questions you have, and Bernie will answer the question after we're through.
Okay?
Okay, that it? Very good, sir, thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor of this? No one else like to speak in favor?
No.
Tom?
I'm White Summerlin. I'm in favor of this project. It doesn't appear to be as aggressive as the previous, and it's given a lot of consideration to the neighborhood. The height of the building's not going to be an obstruction for their view of the sky. So I think it's a good project, and I think elderly housing would be good for that area, would actually control the population of renters that would enter there. So it wouldn't be any kind of a threat to North Haven in general. So, and being on the bus line, I think they're gonna have access to get to the center of town to shop if they need to. I'm in favor of it.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Anyone else? Mary? Mary?
Well,
If you're in favor, this is the in favor.
well,
You're,
I'm on the fence.
okay.
So while we wait.
You're gonna get there. Okay, sorry. Okay, anyone else in favor? Okay, and anybody in opposition? Opposition, speak forward. Just step forward, I should say, I'm sorry. Hans?
Thank you, Board. I live on 15 Cindy Lane. My name is Hans Strobitsky, Strilbyckij. I'm still concerned, I would like to make this place a nature preserve or a open space area because it's adjacent to Peters Rock and it would be perfect for that location. And I think the town would really benefit for that. Also, as a nature preserve, we have a lot of critters coming in and out of there. We have some deer, we have some baby deer, fawns, we have coyotes, turkeys, bobcats, we have migrating birds coming through, woodcock, we have fisher cats, raccoons, foxes. So there's a multitude of animals living in that area also. Then another concern is the traffic. There's going to be a lot of accidents because I walk that, I see it, I drive that all the time. The access from Middletown Avenue, people turning left to Quinnipiac, it's only a matter of maybe 100 yards away from that driveway entrance. And people pulling out of there, I have trouble pulling out of my street. A lot of times due to the traffic. And anybody trying to pull out from that close to the corner, I think there'll be a lot of accidents there. Now, you mentioned the busing. Now, I don't know how old these people are, but there is a bus stop right down at the bottom of it. But you gotta walk about 600 feet just to get down there. And then with the slope of the hill, try to get back up there, you can get a heart attack. And my other concern was the blasting, but they did mention that there was going to be a minimal amount of blasting, or if at all. Now, Peters Rock, you have a lot of shale on the other side, and a lot of times we do hear loose rock falling down from that mountain. Now, if blasting is going to occur, you're going to get a lot of reverberation, and more of that mountain may be falling down on some of those houses. And also, my other concern is the fire hazard. A lot of times in the fall, you have a lot of leaves falling off all those trees from Peters Rock. Now, I noticed a couple of times when I walk there all the time, but when I was walking there, a whole big section of Peters Rock was all aflame. And I had to be about 3-4 acres that burned down. And I'm concerned about the housing project that's going to be going in there, that if there is more of a fire from all those leaves, could inhibit the building.
Sprinklers.
And another thing, a lot of these explosives are hazardous to the environment also. Depending upon what type of explosives you use. Some of them have mercury in them, some of them have other gases in them, some of them have acids in them, so that could be detrimental to the environment also. And again, I'd like to commend the gentleman from Universal Builders, because he's doing a beautiful project of homes in East Haven. And to have a nice community in back of me would be, I would like that a lot better than the larger homes, a large building that they plan to build. And that's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Hans.
Thanks, Tom.
Anyone else like to speak in opposition? Skip ahead, sir.
So Joe Palmucci, it's Palmucci, and I live at 9 City Lane, North Haven. And to go off what Han said, I do agree with, my main concern would be the traffic at the bottom of that driveway there. I feel like every few weeks you see some kind of accident at the intersection of Quinnipiac and Middletown. So it's just gonna be a tight spot where I think there could be some more traffic. And I also do appreciate the fact that they have made the plan less aggressive and they moved it over, so it's not gonna be visible from our backyards. So, I think a neighborhood would be something that would be better, but in the event that that's not gonna happen, I think that this might be the best situation. So, my main concern now would be the traffic at the bottom of that hill.
Okay, and exactly where do you live, sir?
9 City Lane, I'm a couple houses.
On Cindy Lane?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm like 2 houses down from ours.
Yep, I was over by your place, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank
Anyone else? Anyone else like to speak in opposition? Any questions? Any concerns? Mary?
Excuse me, Mary White, Summer Lane. Let's see. My concern is always for the public's health, safety, and welfare, as is this commission. My concern is to protect residential neighborhoods, to protect their characters, and for development to be in harmony with neighborhoods. Some questions. Will the use of the neighborhood by the neighbors be disrupted by this change? Doesn't sound like it. Will the cars from the development use Cindy Lane to get to their development? No. Let's see. Will the neighbors be able to still enjoy their neighborhood? It appears so. Will the proposed use be in character with the neighborhood, in harmony? It appears so, being that it's residential, and like Tom mentioned about restricted elderly housing versus non-restricted for rentals. Let's see. Here are some of the changes that I heard that I feel is keeping the neighbors in mind. The blasting has been lessened due to the building, and the building was moved, that sounds about 300 feet away from the neighbors, a football field. And there was mention of a berm, I don't know if that's 4 to 5 feet, will be constructed, a vegetative berm and trees planted. So although this is just the zone change stage, I would like to strongly suggest right now to the applicant and to the commission that to make sure those trees are tall in size, the green giant arborvitaes, they stay green all year round, and they grow to 60 feet. Make sure enough of the green giant arborvitaes are planted, and be cognizant of the age of the green giant arborvitaes. No little 3-foot trees. This is important for screening purposes. Another issue, the sun's driving me crazy here. Another issue that is for the future, if this gets approved, is the lighting plan, which of course is going to include lights for the nighttime, so residents can safely drive in or out. These lights must not shine toward, we get it, it won't be shining at the neighbors' homes, but it should not be, they should not be shining toward them, their homes or their properties. Also be sure that these lights are not bright. Some of those LED lights out there are extremely bright. Let's see. And another change which I thought was good is the fire chief is satisfied that the large fire trucks can make the turn around. There's a sidewalk going to go to Quinnipiac Avenue. And then the roof is now flat with a parapet. I did look that up on my phone, looked at some photos, so I can see how that reduces the height. And then the height was reduced 4 stories to 3. Just go up Washington Avenue, look to the east, see 3 stories. Look to the west, you see 4 stories. There's a big difference. Let's see. Also, the property owner is not going to leave his property undeveloped for conservation. That's just not going to happen. And he's not going to build houses. Let's see. Oh, and then I did have a question. The conservation easement, will the public have access to it, or is just going to be on the property? So I'm kind of, on the fence. It's definitely better, but I think neighbors need to think what could be, and what could be worse, or will be worse.
May I have your
If
attention,
I'm making any
please?
sense.
The North
Okay, Mary,
Haven
thank you very
Library
much.
is closing in 19 minutes.
Gets me every time.
Please begin to make your final selections and bring them to the circulation desk for checkout. All computers will shut down in 4 minutes.
Okay. Bernie?
Thank you,
Is there-
Mr. Chair.
Is that, 1 second, Bernie.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure, is there anyone else who wants to comment? Okay, go ahead, Bernie.
Question from Mr. Volo was 60 units would be proposed when we come back if we're fortunate enough to get the zone change. If I misspoke, I apologize, but we're not proposing it as an affordable housing application. It's age restricted. So I did say, and I meant, that this model would allow for more affordable construction costs and therefore potentially more affordable rental prices. But that's with a small a. I wasn't talking about any statutory mandated pricing restrictions or public, low-income housing or any of that. We're not proposing either Section 8 or anything like that. All good comments, and good questions. I think most of them would be answered at the site plan, special permit phase, but what I can tell you from experience is these age-restricted projects are very low traffic generators, and the traffic generation times are usually off-peak, because this group is not getting up at 7, 8 o'clock. They're not coming all back at the same time at 5 o'clock. So in your non-age restricted apartment projects, you have a greater impact during peak travel times. That's not the case with these projects typically. We'll have a full-blown traffic study that'll detail all of this out for you, peak hour trips and sight lines and all of that. We're pretty comfortable that we will have a project that can be designed for safe traffic circulation, both within the site and into the neighboring traffic streets, public roads. So we're happy to address that at that time. Not quite sure who would take the conservation easement. That would have to be something we discuss with who's ever going to take it. We're open to discussion, I think, either way on the conservation area. Blasting, all of the blasting nowadays is highly regulated, and you have to go through a pretty detailed review with the fire marshal as to the type of the charge, what's going to be, pre-blast surveys. All of those requirements, both of the town and the state, would be followed in the event blasting is needed. The buildings would be sprinklered, by the way, from a fire safety standpoint. Someone mentioned fire safety, right? Yeah. So I think those are my comments, on some of the questions.
Okay, good.
I got one quick question regarding the dents.
We're gonna put it right up again.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that anybody out there didn't have their questions answered. Most of these questions would be for the site plan application. Actually, not tonight. This is just for a zone change tonight. So I think Bernie took took care of most of it, and with that, we're gonna come back to the commission. And go ahead, Frank.
Just a quick question. You had mentioned it's 60 units. What's the amount of occupants in a unit?
Good question. Mostly one bedroom, two bedroom.
mostly one bedrooms.
Mostly one
Mostly
bedroom,
one bedroom.
some two maybe.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Commission?
Now, the number of units last time around
Was 60.
Same number.
Yep.
So you're gonna make them smaller, or you're gonna make less two bedrooms? Is that the?
Yes,
More
it'll be a
one
different mix now.
Okay.
Karen?
I do have a question, but it's more, it pertains more to site plan, so.
Okay. You good?
Yep.
We're all good? Staff? You're good? Okay. Bernie, you're good?
Yeah, we received the staff comments. I think we answered the fire marshal. I didn't see anything in the land use administrators issues that we have any objection to. So we thank you for your time, and we look forward, hopefully, to a approval of the zone change. We're anxious to come back and show you more detail on the development plan, and we'd love to bring the project to town.
Okay, that's it. That closes this public hearing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, folks. Everyone in the audience and staff. Okay. Just wait.
Yep.
So, you can smell it. Okay, you folks all ready? Okay, I'm gonna read this in, we're gonna read the call in of the first site plan.
Site plan P24-08, site plan application of Wayne S. Garrick Architects, applicant Emmett Properties LLC, owner relative to 47 Middletown Avenue, map 3, lot 48, plan entitled Map of Existing Conditions, SKP Advisors, 47 Middletown Avenue, North Haven, Connecticut, 06473, prepared by JPGA, dated 10/12/2022, revision 5/2/24, scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, CB20 zoning district.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Garrick. I'm an architect. My office is at 291 Whitney Avenue in New Haven. In addition to myself this evening, John Paul Garcia, our civil engineer, is also available for questions on an as-need basis. SKP is a small accounting firm. They have approximately 10 staff at this point in time. They converted an existing bank building actually many years ago into their current offices, and within the next couple months they have plans on merging with another firm, and therefore, because they have more than adequate site space, they're able to add on in addition to the building. The existing building is approximately 2,450 square feet, 1 story. The addition will also be 1 story and approximately 1,700 square feet. One thing we are doing, the design calls for the demolition off the rear portion of the old bank building is a drive-up teller that will be demolished. We are adding this 1-story addition to the rear of that. And the addition itself is fully compliant with all of your setback and height requirements as well as coverage. And in fact, one small feature of the project is we've indicated on the plans, perhaps you have, a planting strip around the entire perimeter of this addition, which actually results in a net decrease in impervious surface. So we've actually increased pervious surface for this particular project. Our the parking requirements for the project are also 100% compliant with your regulations. And a feature, while it's not a zoning consideration, we are able to, obviously in this new addition, generate an ADA restroom for the people who work in the firm. And if there's a need for that, we've now been able to accommodate the ADA. Other than that, I don't think the project is particularly involved or complicated. As you are well aware, as the commission, there is the requirement for sidewalks. This isn't a very sidewalk-intense neighborhood. In fact, I'm not sure there are any, but don't quote me on that. But we have, as part of our application, we have asked for a waiver of the sidewalk requirement. We have indicated them here. They're shown on the site plan along Middletown Avenue. It doesn't connect to anything. In fact, this part of the sidewalk would be interrupted by 2 driveways. But we've indicated those, but in our zoning information chart, as well as note number 3 on the bottom, we have respectfully requested that waiver.
Wait, you're requesting a waiver with the sidewalks? according to
Yes,
that.
yes.
There is no sidewalks there at all?
No.
Okay.
Well, there is another area.
Yeah, the side of the
right,
street.
Yeah, there's,
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
on the
no,
other
yes,
side of the
yeah,
street, yes.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I think that summarizes our
All right,
request.
that's all. Okay,
Yes.
good enough. You want to start, okay? Do you have any questions?
I had no questions for you now.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have some questions.
Yes, Carrie, please go.
The planting that you're showing,
Yes.
I see that you have ilex in there and alliums.
Yes.
What type of alliums are they bulbs or are they,
No, they would be plants, yes.
okay, so the millennium alliums that are
Oh.
perennial or, because.
Yes, they are perennial.
Okay. And then I saw noted on there were trees, but I didn't see them.
Oh, yes, but it's a requirement, and the trees are at the end of each of the parking rows.
Okay.
Yes. It's part of your requirements, as you know.
Yep,
Big gap.
okay.
Get it?
I think so.
This is another one of those site plans where I think the property doesn't look bad. It's not an eyesore in any way, but it'd be nice to pick up the trees. And when Andy and I met with Wayne, when he learned about the requirement there, he said, not a problem. And Wayne is very pro-tree as well, so they quickly agreed to add the trees at the ends of the islands, which brings them closer to compliance and is a positive thing for the site.
Well, I want to get it up much to compliance as we can, Alan.
Exactly.
You know, I don't want to put in sidewalks if sidewalks are not in the area.
By and large, their island configuration complies. The islands are a little short, but in general, the islands at the ends of the rows of the parking exist, and to add the trees would help, would bring it very close to compliance.
Our firm always tries to be sensitive to what we're constructing and balancing that, and certainly, probably in the last 10 or 15 years, certainly impervious surface and reflective surface has become a consideration. And actually, any time, we don't have to show this planting around the perimeter of the building, but anytime we have an opportunity to reduce impervious surface and become more sensitive to the site in terms of introducing some softness and drainage, we try to do it just as a matter of course, as opposed to as a matter of regulation.
Yeah, I understand what's happening, but, you know, the commissioners feel the same way you do. We want to
Right.
make it as pleasantly looking as we can. And as long as you're doing it, let's do it now.
That's right.
Okay.
And do it right.
Okay.
Wayne, was there, sorry, Vern, one of my comments involved screening the trash toters. Did you have any particular thoughts on what you might be able to do? with that?
Typically,
May I have your attention, please? The North Haven Library will be closing in 5 minutes. Please bring all items to check out at this time. Have a nice evening.
That's certainly a requirement of most municipalities these days. And actually, we would include a detail in our construction drawings for that. And typically, we specify a 6-foot-high sort of replica aluminum picket fence to go around the dumpster or trash areas. One thing we do differently, though, is rather than using the posts that normally come with the fencing systems, we actually specify hollow steel sections, actually 5-inch square hollow steel sections for each corner, so that it protects the fencing and the trash area from any vehicles or the trash vehicles as well. So we kind of take that to an extra level as well for all of our projects.
Yes, certainly sounds that way, Paul.
Now, when that was Dime Savings Bank, and people used to cut through there from Quinnipiac to Middletown, are they still doing that, or?
Well, I'm not there that often,
Yeah.
but the few times I've visited the client, I haven't seen much traffic activity, not only here, but also at the dentist's office next door. It seems to be
Yeah, it's in
rather
between,
routine.
that's-
Yeah.
You share a driveway, or no?
Yeah.
Paul?
There's a killer speed bump that's
Yeah.
there, let
Yeah.
me tell you. So I think that's working.
Yeah, there is.
And I didn't see,
There's a big
is
speed
there
bump there.
sidewalks also shown on the plan on Quinnipiac side, or no?
Yes.
Okay, so both sides are shown.
That might negate
That's
our
good.
gesture towards creating less impervious surface.
I'm good now.
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
I'm good, yeah.
Okay, staff?
You have mine
Okay.
in.
Thank you very much,
You're
sir.
welcome.
John?
Thank you.
Paul?
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Have a pleasant 4th of July, everybody.
Well,
You too.
close the site plan here. Okay. And
Site plan, P24-10. Continue.
no, that's all.
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. I was looking at the wrong one.
yeah, this is,
So, site plan P24-10, continuation of the site plan application of Pat Munger Construction Company Incorporated, applicant SKF North Haven LLC, owner relative to 101 Washington Avenue, map 73, lot 7, plan entitled Proposed Site Layout and Exterior Refresh for Broad Peak Properties, Edible Arrangements, 101 Washington Avenue, North Haven, Connecticut, 06473, prepared by Gary M. Greenhouse, P.E., dated May 8, 2024, scale 1 inch equals 10 feet, CA 20 zoning district.
Okay. What do you do? Kind of drop the ball here, or it's like he's not gonna do much of anything here, is he?
Essentially, they've decided, Mike Mizaki, Pat Munger Construction, for the record. Mizaki, it's M-O-Z-Z-O-C-H-I. No worries. So after reviewing all of the things that went into changing the plan to cut the corner, to make the patio viable, they decided, that they looked at several other options, and then they decided that honestly, it just didn't seem to make sense. The cost kept on becoming prohibitive to do that much work. They were losing parking spaces or other things to get all the islands in. So they decided to just delete the patio in its entirety, and essentially they just want to move the dumpster enclosure from where it is about 10 feet, 15 feet. I don't have direction on that. That looks like that would be to the west.
Yes. Yeah, 10 feet?
I think it's about, so, like, edge, again, it's also a larger enclosure to actually fit the dumpsters. So,
Yeah.
if you're going about 5 feet from edge to edge, so it's probably, and plus 16 feet, so that's about 20, call it 20 feet.
I don't know, 20 feet.
So,
We gonna do anything other than that or not?
So what we propose to do is, again, adjust the parking. We're gonna have 3 spots here, put an island here, put an island here to cap the parking. Not really address anything on this side. Again, we are planning to restripe, seal and restripe and those sorts of things, and add the stop signs, stop bars, just like we had in the previous application. So,
I mean, were you gonna do anything with the islands you have there?
not at this time. Unless,
Why wouldn't you do them at this time?
because we're not making any substantive changes. Now, if you'd like us to, we could add planting, we're not planning to increase the size, but you do have an island here, you do have an island here with trees, you have an island here with a tree, and you have an island there with a tree. It's just not, you know what it looks like.
Yeah. What about some bollards in front of the building? Any protection in front of the building? Are you planning on doing anything there at all?
No. We could add a bollard at the corner to protect the corner, if that's a condition of approval.
Yeah, the northeast corner, it looks like that was a car hit that one time. It's still caved, it's still
Yeah.
falling apart there, but that would probably be a good idea to put that there. You want to-
Yeah, we should.
And also, you say, it says existing landscaping, and I made a comment last time that it looks like there is no landscaping there. It's all weeds there in the corner, both corners.
Along Washington Avenue there.
On the Washington Avenue side. If you look at, it says existing landscaping in this area there. It's not really well kept currently. And, again, it's on Washington Avenue, it's a show place, so.
Understood. I'm sure they can clean it up, plant grass. Again, we do have the trees in there. What would you be looking for?
Can I just ask a question, if I can put someone on the spot, perhaps? I don't know, Carrie, if you gave a look to the 2 existing trees, ornamental trees that are closest to the building in those islands, and they've definitely got issues, as they say. Are those trees something that should be removed and replaced, or is that something that can?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was trying to get at. I was trying to dress the whole place up is what I was trying to get.
I was taking more of a botanical approach than that, but, okay.
Well, I wanted to replace those trees and get some, some flowers or some lower shrubs in the front. Not just put grass in there, because the grass is gonna be very difficult to handle. But you can certainly get some flowers. Even your neighbor next door in the gas station, he's, put some flowers and stuff around, and dressed up the place considerably, and cut the trees back some. However, the stuff that you have there is pretty ratty looking, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's one way of saying it, sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things we discussed last time, I was really shocked because it seemed like a lot of the things we talked about were kind of just discarded when part of it was, I think we were trying to work with the plans and talk through a few things, and a lot of the, the vein of what we were trying to convey kind of was just said, forget it, we're not doing that. And I think that's a big part of what the commission's looking to accomplish is an upgrade through the enhancement of the site.
And we understand that, but what we're trying to accomplish is, at this point, just making a better dumpster enclosure and moving it away from the building a little bit. So, again, we do have the two new islands in the back, landscaped islands in the back that we're gonna add. I'm sure we can do some plantings in the other islands that exist.
You're gonna remove the two islands in the back, is that what you're
I'm
saying?
going, they don't exist. We're gonna add this island here, we're gonna add this island here, landscape, trees, just as required. Take the dumpster from here, and move it to here, put it in an enclosure, the screened enclosure, and just make that area a little bit nicer. That's ultimately the goal.
You gotta remove the old dumpster pad.
Yes,
And pave that.
yes.
And, there's only 4 areas here, existing areas that need to be spruced up.
In the front of the building.
And then you could, of course, you're gonna put new plantings back here in these 2.
And
It just looks terrible when you drive by.
it
That's what we're
calls,
trying to get across the last time.
it calls out 2-inch caliper trees, but what trees are you proposing in there?
Whatever is, just standard tree.
Okay.
I haven't really given it,
Well, let me ask you,
we can work with the commission for, the regulation says a
I wanna
tree.
get this thing passed for you.
Would you like
I
it-
want you to work with staff.
Yes.
We wanna get the building, the property looking, kind of attractive there if you can.
we'd like to specify the tree, or have a tree specified. That would be great, but like the previous applicant who came in and replaced trees that were long, past and had been removed, maybe the snowplows took them out over time, and that building, that bank was built, in the 70s? So those trees are long gone. It's great that they're coming in and they're gonna replace those trees, and I consider it a replace, not, we're gonna provide new trees. So similarly here, I would, I put a lot more value on trees, even if they're ornamental trees or of smaller stock, to put in 4 ornamental trees in the front. Appreciate the effort in the back, and I'm sure the school next door to the south would also appreciate, getting those 2 improvements and getting those islands in the back. That it has value, but I'd love to see the front sort of treat in a little bit, and at least if you're gonna leave the islands that are there, okay, maybe you could repair the broken curbs and keep the islands the same size, but add trees.
I'd almost trade the ones in the back for the front,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping for 6, Ken.
Yeah, so I was just-
Well, we wanna get to 6, this is what I want. Andy, you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I guess from a traffic safety perspective, I wouldn't mind seeing that front corner protected. If we're not gonna do any of the rest of the improvements we talked about, that's one thing I'd like to see, just to protect that front corner of the building.
Just in front of the building, at least, even if it's a cement barrier, if you don't want to put bollards in there.
Yeah, well, you got a bollard at the back corner, so why not just put one in the front corner? Right?
Yeah,
That's what-
again, we can,
Are you willing to work with staff
yes,
in respect to this?
yes.
Okay.
And the,
No, that's,
do you need that whole, can you pull this dumpster closer to the building? I know you're trying to get as far away as you can, but, it's right out there, it's gonna be out in the open for everyone to see this building, the new restaurant over here.
Which building?
You're,
Closer to your building.
No, I understand.
How much open space do you need there?
the end of it, the end of it was like 20 feet away, the old dumpster, and now the proposed one is gonna be.
You had an access issue, I thought, to
Yeah,
the door.
We want to be able to just load in this, there's a door here, we just want to be able to load in that door.
No.
So that's So that's, again, so you bring a truck in here temporarily, load in and out a van, and then you leave. But again, we're willing to work with the office staff to get a reasonable.
Okay, you work with staff, we'll work with that.
We'll work with staff.
I'm good with that. Mark?
Oh, just to his comment about, trading the trees out. In this situation, though, it's kind of awkward because the back is as important as the front, because
It certainly is.
Yeah.
your clientele or the talent people, they're right there, you've got full exposure. So to your comment of swapping them out, I would rather see both front and rear together.
Yep, I would too.
And it has to be something that can stand the environment. You're not gonna be watering it. So and there's no sprinklers there, so it's gotta be something that'll stand up to, to last without the water, whatever that is.
So, like I said, they're not disagreeable. Again, they do want this building to be nice too. So putting some landscaping in the front, I'm sure we can have them do that. Enhance that a little bit, change the trees again, working with the staff, come to something that's, reasonable. Again, obviously this project is very minimal as opposed to what it was, so, but, we are good. And again, you will get, shrub, landscaped in the back, shrubs, trees, what you want.
You can understand that we're a little concerned, certainly because it's been neglected for so long. It really hasn't been given any thought to the whole site. The whole site needs to get kind of freshened up a little bit. We'd like you to work with staff. If you're good with that,
Yeah.
I think, and it's substantial work, right? I think it's not just the one tree here. I think we're looking for, a big impact. We don't, you guys aren't coming up for anything in a long time, so we want to look out for the town as best as possible.
Understood. And again, you are going to get a building refresh too, a facelift of the building. It's going to look nicer. They do want it to be nice. There are just certain aspects that, since we're not doing much, but yes, we'll definitely work with staff. You'll get some in the front. It'll look better. I mean, let's be honest, just painting the building and putting down the new asphalt and new striping will make it look better without anything else. It will still look better than it does by a lot. So, and that's,
well, we're trying to get you through. We want to get you going. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like the new house that has no landscaping in front, right?
Right.
That's, no one likes that until the greenery's in, right? That's all.
No, I guess not. It would have been nice to have an idea of what the plantings might be, but.
If you have something that you like, or that you, let's just say this, that's appropriate, that you feel is appropriate, maybe we can talk about that in deliberations. And
Okay.
the applicant has expressed his willingness to work with you, so.
Good with you?
Good with me.
Good enough?
All right. Thank you for your consideration.
Very good. Okay, we'll move on to, no change of use, bonds, get that, the deliberation now.
Yep.
Okay, get a motion to go into deliberation.
I'll make a motion to go into
The
deliberation.
motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, first thing we have to talk about is, this is a zone change tonight only on 61 Quinnipiac Avenue. We certainly hashed out a lot of stuff in respect to this regarding what really should come out in the site plan application. However, it was brought out here. Being what it is, this is a zone change to the elderly housing EH zone down there, so he can put in and to move forward to bring in a site plan for some apartments in there. And I don't see any reason not to approve this. So with that, I would ask for a motion to approve which, everything is with staff comments in any event, and moves this as it was presented.
I'd kind of like to, before we approve it,
Go ahead.
so you had mentioned there were some negotiations with the applicants ahead of the meeting. Is there any details about those negotiations that you can mention?
I'd like to mention one thing about them. They were prior to any application being made. The applicant requested to meet with the folks who denied his application and to find out what he might be able to do in resubmitting, and whether he felt that he could comply with that and work out something that would actually be approvable. So that was the nature of it, and it wasn't anything that took place afterwards. And
There was no
more of an-
What do you have in mind, Ken?
I don't know what was discussed. You had mentioned that there was a discussion.
No, we just,
Yeah, it's what Vern went through.
this is the
Those are
discussion we
notes.
had to move the building over, and we discussed all that. We discussed, everything that was here was discussed, which he didn't have to, wouldn't have to. I went over all this with you, some time ago.
Yeah, and I didn't realize there was the discussion about, I wanted to make sure exactly what was discussed, and I was aware of it.
And as Alan said, there was no application at the time.
There was no application in, Ken, it was when everything was.
No, it was between this application and the prior one, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And there was nothing there. Okay, is there anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
The applicant, I think, was actually going to bring a different type of application for an 8-30G, which he had made fairly clear.
Yeah, there was a threat.
If he felt,
It was kind of-
yeah, if he felt he couldn't get something approved, and he was clear that he didn't want to do that. He
Yes.
would rather work something out,
Yeah.
something else. So.
Correct. That's the way I recalled it.
Well, Ken, the thing is, if we don't approve this, which we don't have to approve this.
Correct, yep.
I think that he will be heading for an 8-30 to go in there.
Yeah, that's.
We're trying to avoid that, is what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, and I think that doesn't.
I'm sorry?
I'm on the same page as you regarding that as well,
Okay.
so.
And
Seemed open to discussion about the conservation easement. I'd like to,
Yeah, when the site plan comes forward, they said they would deal with
yeah,
that at the
I know anything
time.
about that with that.
Who has access to it?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they said
Whatever
that,
they draw up, I guess, is what it is.
they mentioned that, they
Well,
mentioned
part of
that they're
our-
open to
It's been
discussion.
discussed, and Bernie's offered it in the prior application as
Right.
well.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's definitely been a topic that has gone on to both sides.
A lot more to talk about on this when the site
Yeah.
plan comes
Well,
in, so,
yeah.
you know.
And the special permit comes in, so special permit with the site plan. And it's difficult to condition a zone change on anything other than those basic things that are required, such as
Okay.
extension of sewer and water, that sort of thing. But you do get your shot at that because of the special permit,
Yeah.
which I think is a good process, to be able to do one and then the other. We've tried to hold things here in North Haven to that and stick with the step-by-step process, which I think best affords us the opportunity to get those things.
Makes
Do you have
sense to
any
me.
particular thoughts on this, John?
I mean, I just like the idea of that, and I would like.
I'm sorry?
I just like the idea of it, and I would like for the public to be able to utilize it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is as much as we can get before the public.
Yeah.
Before the site
Understood.
plan.
I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
So as long as there's kind of a right of way that they could access it, right?
Yeah.
If all of a sudden
This isn't the place to discuss.
Peters Rock Association puts in a trail access or something like that, if someone needed to walk through the property to get to that.
But as Alan said, I think that's something that we're gonna discuss later,
And
probably.
Bernie mentioned we would, they're open to,
Yeah.
And the nice thing is we wouldn't be snookered because you have it borders directly on the town property. on a side and a half. Well, and a little more than that. So we've got a good opportunity. We've had the opposite in the past, up at Pierpont Hill, where we actually had a landlocked town piece and a lack of accessibility to it. But I think we're in a good position on this, where we'll be able to get access to it.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm good.
Mark? Good, okay. I would like to get a motion to approve as presented.
I'll make a
Discussed.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented and discussed.
Okay. Can I
I'll
get a-
second it.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. Now, get down to, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're down to site plans now. This is P24-0847 Middletown Avenue. What we just discussed was, it sounded pretty well thoroughly covered in the discussion as to being very cooperative and whatever you guys want to do. And he sounded like he wanted to make it very nice himself. So I would like to get a motion to approve as it was presented with staff comment. Everything is with staff comments, but this one especially because, and the other one,
If you might be able to include action on the sidewalk waiver in the initial motion, that would probably be most efficient.
I just
Okay.
asked we're waiving on the Middletown Avenue side, but there is existing sidewalk on the Quinnipiac, if I got that correct?
There are no sidewalks on either
Either
side,
side,
and they're
either
requesting to waive it on both
Both
sides.
sides, okay.
And, okay,
No,
there
that's
was a
not-
comment that was made. There are sidewalks on the other side of Middletown Avenue.
Yeah.
Was the
That's,
comment.
okay,
Yes.
all right, just,
Now, the Medtronic's gonna put in a lot of money into that building there,
Perhaps, yeah.
to the tune of $10 billion or something like that, so, over the next 5 years, so it's gonna, that whole area is gonna hopefully come alive.
Okay.
And,
is there something we need to put in this?
well, I
Sidewalks?
think we should,
Huh?
I'm kind of in
I'm
favor
fine.
of the waiver with, the fact that, we,
there's nothing there now.
what's that? Yeah, well, I looked in detail on both, on the other side, there is sidewalks, right? Yeah, there's sidewalks on the other side, right?
Yeah.
There's no sidewalks on that side, right? So it'd be like this little tiny 50-foot sidewalk that goes nowhere,
Right.
right?
All the way to the town line.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And so I don't think there's any safety benefit, and as I'm really in favor of the sidewalks in lots of areas, I think in that, there's at least a walkway on the other side that can be walked, for multiple bus stops that can be accomplished safely, which I think it's important. But in this example, what they're doing and have this standalone island, I think it warrants the waiver.
Okay, good enough. Any comment from you? We're talking about sidewalks.
I know. I guess I would like to see sidewalks on both sides. And if it's going to start a precedent that any further development down the street also adds a sidewalk, and eventually it's all pieced together, then that would make me happy, but.
Okay.
No, I'm on the same page too. The goal of our sidewalks going forward, I think is appropriate, but in this case, I think
Appropriate to waive the sidewalks?
to waive it for this application, yep.
Are you good with waiving the sidewalks? You're not?
I'm not.
Okay, good enough. Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try it again. I want a motion to approve waiving the sidewalks. As presented, waiving the
I'll make
sidewalks.
a motion to approve waiving the sidewalks.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. I'm nay, whatever it is.
You are opposed?
I am opposed.
Okay. Okay. Gary's opposed. We have 4-1. Okay, that's passed.
And I don't think we had anything, every other comment, I think, was
Well, we have just Washington Avenue now, right?
more or less responded to.
I'm sorry?
I think all the other comments were taken care of, so, okay, all right, we're good.
Okay, good. Okay, get the, on P24-10, which is 101 Washington Avenue. They agreed to work with staff, and of course, we're going to get my good staff into work with this project. Get a motion to approve with the applicant working with staff to get out for beautification of the site. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all second. I have a motion.
As you go through this, just a question, working with staff is good, but my understanding is then that we would,
It's the entire site.
okay, we would not change the island dimensions in the front.
Right.
We would keep the islands the way they are,
Just
but get a 2-inch caliper tree in each of the 6 islands, 2 in the back, 4 in the front.
Also, coming down that street in May, it's nice having the blossoms. The whole street is those pink cherry blossoms.
Yep.
The tree like that, and it looks great, you know, you're kind of proud driving down the street, see the, you know, those things.
Well, it's on both
So
sides.
something like that
You know, the
to
front and the
pretty it up
back
a
here.
little bit, you know.
So a little
I
more
mean-
landscaping in the
Little-
front.
Listen, the applicant
Lower
was, he was in favor of getting the place looking decent.
Mhm.
Even if they put a
And if that's the
little,
purpose of the project, I mean, I would
Well-
hope there wouldn't be an awful lot of pushback when we start talking about putting a few trees in, you know?
I
Right.
don't think so, but we want to get the whole place looking attractive, both sides.
They kind of missed the point of our initial, you
Yeah.
The whole
know, they
idea.
came back and like didn't, like,
right, yeah.
didn't do it. It didn't really.
And they could
address
pretty
it.
up those 2 islands out front, put some, you know, mulch and put a nice cherry tree in there or something.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
other than
something,
grass,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they're not gonna.
You almost got the band going there.
And one more detail, this man asks for so little. Could you get him the 1 bollard? How about it? on that one? We'll go with the 1 bollard,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got the motion. Do we have a second? I've lost track here now.
We need a second.
You have a second.
Second.
Ken made the motion, Paul seconded.
Okay.
You've hammered out most of the details.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. And the applicant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you. Okay, now we get down to, well, it's just bond release there. We have-
And as the commission may recall, at last month's meeting, I reported that basically everything was set on this property except for 1 handicap parking sign. And I'm happy to report that handicap parking sign has now been put in place. So I am comfortable with a full bond release on this.
I saw that, so it's good to go?
Yep, good to go.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve full release of the bond?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion.
I'll second.
Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, correspondence, we have, no correspondence here. We have minutes.
Well, you do have correspondence, you have the meeting
Yeah, that's on the
dates,
next-
okay?
Meeting dates. Oh, it's over here, I don't have that, we do have that. The meeting
And
dates.
I got to come out of this with a meeting date approval.
Looks good.
Just looked at, they look good.
The only question we had was on the,
And you satisfied that?
Okay. What do you have?
You
This
should know,
one's gonna
you
be
should
on
know
a
that it's
Tuesday.
Tuesday, though.
that's Veterans Day. And the week before that is
What is that, what is that called?
Election Day Eve,
Election
so
Day.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
for some reason, the commission refuses to meet on Election Day Eve.
Okay, on the, you looked at the
Politicians,
meeting
you know.
dates, Can I get a motion to approve that they were presented?
I'll motion it.
Motion to approve.
And I'll second it.
You'll second?
Yep.
Mark? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Now, we get the minutes to the June 3rd, 2024 meeting. Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve minutes from the third meeting.
Gary?
I mean, I wasn't here.
No good.
Then I will make the motion to
Thanks.
second.
Ken? Okay, good. We have a second, a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So
Anything else
that's a
before the
4 to
commission?
nothing vote.
Get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
There you go.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, thank you very much.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.